almost good evening. Thank you all for coming, and we realize we are the last session before Universal, so I appreciate you guys all being here. We are going to first just give an overview and some framing, and then this is going to be super demo heavy. So given that it's late in the afternoon, we're going to be jumping into the product, do live queries on a live tenant so you can actually get a sense of what this product is about, and come back and finish up with a recap, and hopefully we'll stay energized at 4 o'clock on a Thursday, and we can all go and enjoy Universal. So my name is David Phantom. I'm a PM on the Office 365 and Microsoft Threat Protection side, and this is Nama, and she is also on Microsoft Threat Protection and is part of the MDATP side, and that's her specialty. So today we're going to be talking about advanced hunting. And just so we have a little bit of framing, how many of you guys have been to or are familiar with Microsoft Threat Protection? Oh, awesome. Woo. Awesome. So just to give a little bit of framing, I won't spend too much time here. Threat hunting is a part of the Microsoft Threat Protection suite. And what we've done as Microsoft is as the industry has changed and attack kill chains have gotten more and more complex, we realize that attacks no longer are siloed. They don't move laterally across the kill chain. They're complex, and they can start in one end and move to the other or jump in between. And you're very familiar with the best-in-breed security products that we have at Microsoft that align with the existing pillars and applications. We have the MCAS, Office ATP, and Smart Screen. As we move down the chain in devices, we have the wonderful MDATP. In the identity space, Azure ATP, as well as MCAS again, and then back to email, collab, and data, Office 365. All have awesome protection, detection, investigation, response in their own respective realms. But Microsoft Threat Protection is what brings together all these products to build the best-in-suite solution for Microsoft security. So like I was talking about, really what MTP is it builds on top of the pillars that we already have from all these awesome individual security products. So the 4 pillars that you might hear me referring to or Nama refer to for the rest of the presentation is identity, endpoint, email, collab, and applications. And what Microsoft Threat Protection has done is introduced 4 or more awesome capabilities on top of these pillars. So the first one is signal sharing. So MTP allows the pillars to easily share signals, whether it's an alert to an alert to an event, or an event to an event, to help amplify the signals to better protect your organizations. On top of that, MTP has a unified entity reputation. So no longer do you have to go to the endpoint to figure out what's going on with a file hash, or the email to figure out if it came across through a message. We have a single, cohesive, unified stance on what the IOCs or entities within your organization is, all within MTP. On top of this, there's orchestration that comes into play. So MTP not only utilizes the underlying automation of each pillar, but it's the orchestration layer to help them talk. So not only is there signal sharing, but it also helps amplify some of the smaller suspicious signals that may not have been strong enough to be malicious and in their own individual pillars, but in MTP, it allows things to be amplified and then orchestrated through the automation that we already have. Finally, like I was already talking about, each of these pillars have their own individual automation capabilities. MTP brings them together and introduces some enhanced capabilities as well. And then finally, through some of the capabilities we're rolling out in our initial release, as well as a unified Microsoft 365 Security Center, it's all in one place. No longer do you have to go out to individual pillars. It's in one awesome, unified, cohesive experience in security.microsoft.com. Just wrapping out how we think about the cohesive and comprehensive protection in MTP, we're going to be focusing today only on the bottom one here in hunting, but just this is how we kind of approach the protection in MTP. So the protection and detection is cohesive and across all the individual pillars. Investigation, remediation, and response brings together the automation capabilities, as well as investigations from each of the pillars as well. And then we bring in things like threat analytics, vulnerabilities and security posture, and then finally, threat experts. The capabilities that you get on-demand experts to help you with recovery or targeted attack notifications. Like I said, we're going to be focusing on the bottom piece here today, and I'm going to pass it off to Nama to talk about threat hunting.
What do you think? This one?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what is threat hunting. As we know, advanced attacks are getting much more and more sophisticated, and our attackers are trying to use every tool and tactic that they can possibly use to make sure that they go undetected as they reach their targets. And this is basically what threat hunting is actually all about. This is the core assumption behind it. There are things that happen in our network that go undetected. And threat hunting is actually about looking through the data and trying to find these exact things based on the hunter's knowledge of his own network, what is considered suspicious or malicious or anomalous behavior. Does not work.
To the right.
Okay, so who actually hunts for threats in your organization? Essentially, anyone who uses our product actually can hunt, use the advanced hunting feature. What we normally see in large organizations that have a tiered SOC model, we usually see that tier 3 is the one who usually uses this the most. In large SOC teams that use the tiered model, the tier 3 is responsible for the incident response and also for the handling of the most advanced attacks. What we actually see, the most cases that we see, is using the hunting capabilities in different scenarios. For example, proactively looking for adversaries that are lurking around in the network, or actually finding new threats as they emerge. Another example that we see is when Tier 3 actually assists Tier 2 in handling incidents that become a bit more sophisticated. Let's talk a little bit about the advanced hunting flow in this case. What we actually start off with is understanding what is the available data that you have. What are the data sets that we actually have? In MTP, what we're exposing is basically all the data that you had available from the device world, from MDATP, and enriching it at this point with email flow data coming in from the Office world. Next part, we'll actually move into the query editor itself. What we're relying on in MTP is based on the same capabilities that we have introduced with MDATP, which is a query editor that is based on the capabilities of the Kusto editor or the Azure Data Explorer editor, if you're familiar with it. It gives a very rich query editing capability to allow for querying of discrete events or logical operations, for instance, a self-deletion or things that happen one after the other, a sequential type of query. In addition to that, we also have autocomplete and IntelliSense that help you as you create your query to actually find exactly what it is that you're looking for to do. So after we have the data set and we have the query editor capabilities, now we look to actually create the query. We usually start with a hypothesis or a question that we want to ask. We will start with a query that usually has a wide result set. And as we get to that, we will add filters, sorting, or enhancements of the data in order to basically minimize what we want to see and find the answer itself. And this is an iterative process. So we will start with a query, we will add some filter. If it's still not enough, we will take a look in the query editor, add another filter, and we go back and forth until we actually get to the result that we want. The next step after this is either continue to investigate on the entity itself. For example, if we're standing on we get a result of a process execution, we can now pivot over to the machine page in MTP or in MDATP and actually take a look at what actually happened before or after. Another thing that we can do is actually take a response action. We can isolate a file, we can trigger an alert, we can isolate a machine, and so on. Or if, maybe good news, we actually didn't find anything, so nothing bad happened, we can start off fresh with a new hypothesis. Okay, so this is pretty much what it is. I think we'll go on and perfect. Okay, So we'll go on and kind of take a look at what do we actually have in MTP today. For those of you who are familiar with MDATP Advanced Hunting, it looks very much the same. We have all the information here that is available from the MDATP data sets. And in MTP, we've introduced three new data sets: email events, email attachment info, and the email URL info. This is all the information that we have on the emails as they get delivered. In addition, we also have queries that you can save. And so they can be shared in between the different team members. Okay, let's start with a simple query. So I begin with a question. What browsers are actually used in my organization? So I have prepared in advance, just in case. Okay, let's break it down. What are we actually looking at? We're looking at information coming in from the devices where I can actually query on the process creation event, so a process that is launched, and I'm looking for everything where the file name is one of the known browsers. So we have Edge, Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox. Let's take a look. Kind of just break it down. Okay, so what I can see here is that I have quite a few, 117 results of these types of browsers that have actually been launched in my organization in the past 30 days. Now, what I actually want to do, I can enhance the query a bit, and I want to count how many different machines use each browser. So if I include this, I'm basically doing a summarizing on distinct count of machine names where I've seen a specific file name launched. In this case, I can see that Edge is the most popular browser in my organization. We have, big surprise, yes. We have 7 distinct computers using it as opposed to the other ones. But I can also look at this from the other way around. What I want to see, and this is just, again, as you can see, it's pretty much the same query. I just want to change the summarize. What am I looking at? And what I want to do now is to see for each machine, what browsers are they actually using. I'm going to start off with counting how many. And I can see here that I have some of the machines actually have 2 different browsers that they're using, and some of them have just one. So I want to maybe take a look at just the ones that have 2 of them. I can easily, from the filtering capabilities, I can enhance my query to add exactly what I want to see. And if I run it, I now have only these. Now I'm interested to see which ones are actually the ones that are used. So I can use a great functionality that is available. Make set gives me a distinct set list of whatever it is that I'm actually trying to check. In this case, it's the file name. And in this case, I can see that for all of them, I have 2 machines that use either Edge or Chrome, and 1 machine that actually uses Firefox and Edge, of course. Okay, so this is one example. Moving on to another one, again, not necessarily from the security world, but just kind of trying to understand what is the capabilities that I can do in this, with this query editor. I want to look at logon events, people who actually log on to their machines. So what I first want to do is understand what is the type of data that I can take a look at. So I'll do a general take 10 gives me a random 10 lines from whatever logon events will return. And I can see that I have pretty rich data in this case. So you have it here. There's a lot of data that you can do. Again, I can add the filters from here or actually use it from the query editor itself. And I can also choose which columns I actually want to view because maybe some of them are not that interesting to me. So just for example, I can remove a few of them. I have a small screen. So I can see that I can actually go on to see it. So kind of let's just talk about this query that I have. What I'm actually doing here, I want to count, I want to find the busiest time that we have, or the busiest hour in which the most logons occur. And what I'm looking at is a few things. One, bin is a function in Kusto, in the Kusto query language, that allows me to basically set one specific time, like if anything that happens, to round up. Thank you. I've lost it. It allows me to round up values into a specific value that I want. In this case, I want to see the counts of everything that happened within the hour. And what I want to count on is a machine and a specific user. So if I had one machine but 2 users, I'm going to count it twice. And I want to summarize the count itself. And now what I get is, for each hour for the past 7 days, how many users have actually, users and machines as a set, how many have actually logged in. And I can find, in this case, that the most that I had, let's see what is actually the busiest hour in that sense. I have quite a few. Late at night is my busiest time. Okay, last one from the device world. This is more a security-oriented type of query, thing that I would look at. In this case, what I want to check is, did I have any Office applications that launch PowerShell? So in this case, not a behavior that I would usually expect to see. So I'm looking at process creation events where the file name is actually PowerShell. And what I can add to that is where the initiating process file name is Word, Excel, Outlook, or PowerPoint. And I can filter out to see just the exact things that I want to look at. In terms of project gives me the ability to only look at specific fields, not everything. We have a very vast data set for each one, the schema, and not necessarily everything is interesting. And in this case, and if you happen to see the session that was 2 hours ago, you see that Polly has been very, very busy launching PowerShell from Office applications. Okay, moving on to email.
Awesome. So I think Nama did a really awesome job of showing that this capability can extend outside of just the pillars and more into business analytics as well. Give you some insight into who's working when or where, and late up at night, I guess people are working late. So in the Office world, since this is the first time that this experience is being exposed, I just want to give a quick overview of the schema that we have in email events. So as a part of the initial release, and we'll get to a little bit of a teaser of what's coming, the initial release of this experience that's rolling out here shortly and to public preview is predominantly around time of delivery events. So where did the email come from? Who was the sender? Who was the recipient? What was the subject? Were there attachments? What did we think of it? So these are our filter verdicts, and if it was caught, what caught it? So the first scenario we're going to go through and kind of walk from top to bottom is purely hypothesis-based. So I am a SOC analyst, and I want to find out, is there an external sender sending email into my organization from some strange place? So let's take a look at this first query here. I'm going to hide these so they don't distract. So this first one is saying, I want to look at all inbound direction emails, something that came into my organization, from a sender domain that's not my own. In this case, this domain is MTP-v1. Yes. Oh, here. Yes, absolutely. MTP-v1. And then I'm going to summarize the count on the sender address. So doing ascending on the total amount of emails that will come from that user. This top one looks a little strange, suspicious sender, helpfulinfo.net. Then you have other organizations, partners, send as, people that might actually send mail externally into your organization, whether it's insurance, it's a partner from a supply chain company, or it's a message center post from Microsoft. So looking at this first user, suspicious sender at helpfulinfo.net, I'm not so sure. I want to find out more information about this person and the type of info they've been sending in my organization. So I'm running a new query that's filtered specifically down to this sender, and look at only the subject and see if there's any payloads that are associated with this email. So looking at it, I can see this person that's a suspicious sender already is sending things like, hey, call me back. This is a common attack vector called business email compromise. It's trying to get someone to respond, establish communication. And then we also see something pretty urgent where they'll send in to get your attention with subjects like urgent invoice. And they'll change little aspects of the subject to try and get through filters or confuse the recipients. You can do a couple other things just to summarize and look at exactly what happens. And they've actually sent a decent amount of mail into our organization. The call me backs and the email me didn't have any payloads, but this urgent invoice 123456, incredibly well planned out, is one that we want to take a little bit further at. So I'm expanding this out now. And what I've done as a hunter is I want to go from a very specific sender address to see if they're changing or hiding where they're coming from. So the second line here is no longer from that very specific sender, but I'm expanding out to just contain the same P2 sender from. So here we can see that they actually have a little bit of variation in where they're sending from. And we have other information around, was it delivered? Where did it get delivered to? If there was attachments, and there was actually URLs associated with this email. So as we continue to go on, maybe they've changed the subject. Maybe they're no longer using that 123456. And you can do things like starts with or contains. You don't have to do exact matches. All this stuff is really, really powerful when you're hunting across large data sets. So here I'm taking a look, and as we scroll down, it's no longer 123456. We've got 55, we've got 444. They've changed not only the subject, but we're also seeing interesting things like complete variation of the from and who the sender is. Now, if we come up and take a look at interesting things like delivery action and delivery location, some of this already got caught. Some of it was blocked by our filters. So as a hunter, I don't really care about this mail, but I want to filter this out to actually look at total impact. So you can do the same thing where you filter out, where delivery action equals blocked, and I now have the full impact of this campaign from the sender. But in order to find out if there actually was any further IOCs, you want to join it not only from the email data, but to figure out what the URLs were that were associated with the delivery as well. So we can bring in and join data from not only the email event table, but we're going to go look at URL info. And the join point here is between the network message ID, which is our unique identifier in the email world, and I'm projecting things like URL. A lot of this was delivered. Some of it wasn't fish. And we can see at the very end that we have our IOC. It's for you. So as a part of this, we saw that you can query not only from a static subject and a static sender, but you can go and look at variant subjects or variant components of this campaign. As a part of this next one, we're going to go take a look at this URL. So we've already figured out a certain set of network message IDs that we probably want to go delete, and you can do that as a part of this process, but since we're focusing on just the hunting, I'm not going to spend time on completing the normal workflow, which is removal, remediation, or deletion. So jumping to the next one, where we have the variant URL campaign, we're starting back with the exact same place we were with the last query. So I'm going to rerun this just to prove that I'm not making anything up. We have the same suspicious sender. I've brought in the recipient email address to show that they're trying to attack multiple users in my organization. And all the way on the far right, we have the same URL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join this across now and ask a different question. Say, are they varying anything as a part of this URL? A common attack vector we see in Office or across, I guess, any organization is that they'll try and vary the domain of the URL, just use the same path or the same query parameters at the very ends. The KQL completely freeform capability gets you the capability just to ask that question. Show me a static domain path and then query parameters, because maybe they sent it to a bunch of the users in my organization, which we know they did, or maybe they're just using the same path and they're sending it from a different domain. All this is capable, and if we go over to the far right where we have the URL, we can see it's no longer just this it's for you.su with the query parameters of the end user at the very end, but as we scroll down, if we have any more data, let's go to 100. As we scroll down, you can see that they changed the top-level domain they've been using and using a static path. So now we've identified that subjects are changing, that domains can change. Let's take a look at a different payload. And in this scenario, we're going to change our hypothesis. So my hypothesis is going to be that I know that someone has been sending malicious mail in my organization, and I want to figure out if they've been targeting anybody specifically. So the recipient email address is the CEO of my organization, the CFO, as well as an IT admin. So Dana Marks in this organization is an IT admin, and I want to figure out, did anybody send any emails with specific payloads to us? So here we can see, looks like there's some interesting stuff from Trusted Sender 2020. Subject is finance approved, overdue invoice. It wasn't caught as fish, and there's some attachments. As we go on, I'm going to join this with the attachment info to find out more about what that payload might be. And now I don't only have information about the email event, but I also have information about the file name. So a lot of this looks benign, where it's welcome to Microsoft. It's from Office 365. This urgent invoice that's been quote unquote approved looks pretty malicious. So in comes the power of MTP hunting. We've given you guys examples of hunting in the machine world, hunting in the Office world. Now we're going to bring it all together and do what we call unified hunting. So this is cross-pillar hunting with various join points. And these examples that we're going to jump into are no longer hypothetical. These are actual examples we've got from customers who are part of our preview program. So these are real world. They're very useful, and they've actually been utilized in the real world. So jumping down, I have the SHA that we extracted from this previous query that I had. It was only in the email world. And I'm going from the email attachments table to join over to the file creation event in the device world. So now we're saying, did this attachment make it from email in whatever client you may access from to any of our end user machines? And in this case, where we're filtering on the initiating process file name of Outlook, which is where the email would have been downloaded, we can see that this actually exists in 4 different places in our organization. Dana Marks, Naughty Naughty, downloaded this and put it on their machine, where we can see the file path, the folder, as well as a consistent SHA. This is our first example of unified hunting in MTP, and Nama's going to walk through us another one.
Okay, so another example of something that we've actually seen from customers, or a query that they have tried or they have built using MTP in order to identify threats as they come into their organization. What we're looking at here, and I'll kind of explain it, is actually quite a short one. Well, not a short one, but it's a simple query. What we're looking at is a case of a spear phishing campaign. As we noticed, things can, the URLs can change. There could be variants to it, and it could be missed in some cases or detected later on. So what we want to see is all the emails that are basically potentially spear phishing campaigns, and from there try to see if anyone actually clicked them in the device world. So if I kind of break it down, just to take a look, specifically in this case, I gave an example of something that we did where some users got a funny cat video. And what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
I have to click it, right? Okay, so we're looking at email events, but this was just as an example, and we added this in the comments. The where, in this case, you can use it to filter out or basically build your hypothesis. Maybe you're looking for something that is only coming in from the outside world, so you can use the email direction, inbound, outbound, intra-org, or it could be on, just as an example that we had, it could be from a specific sender domain or a specific sender IP for in cases where, sometimes you get a external TI about a campaign that is going on, and you have this information and you can see, okay, is this actually hitting my organization, or even, like in this case, based on the subject. So as I can see, close the filter. It opens up, but yeah. Okay, so as we can see here, I'm looking at the evil events, and specifically, I'm looking for spear phishing campaigns, so I'm looking at ones with URLs. Now, similar to what David just did, I actually want to see what is this URL that I'm looking at. Whoops. So again here, what I'm trying to do is actually find the URL. So at the right side, I will have the URL itself. Heike, I'll send it to you later for the funny cat videos.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you all. Seriously? Now what we actually want to do is, again, see, has this actually propagated over to my device world? Have any of my users clicked this and now potentially are infected with something? For example, if this is a download URL. So as I run all of it, what I'm joining on, in this case, is the URL itself. In this case, we have it in the, you can look at it from multiple places. We can see it in the network communication events. You can also have it in some cases, as I'm showing here, in the miscellaneous events. And you can see that I am joining on the URL itself to find it. And I can see that out of 2 emails that were sent, from these are the, just to kind of show it out, these are the recipients, so Adrian in this case. Where's my machine name? There. I can see that Adrian has clicked it, and so has Tracy. So yet another example of a real-world use case where we actually see the power of MTP hunting to find that information.
So the last scenario we're going to cover here is one that we see, unfortunately, too often. But this is a scenario where we recognize that there's a compromised user. And this can either happen through an attack that's come into the organization, or the credentials were leaked in the wild. There's password reuse. Maybe MFA isn't utilizing your organization. So it's a known threat where someone is potentially compromised, and we can use advanced hunting to figure out what they're doing. So this is our insider spear phishing. So in this scenario, I'm just going to walk through it. I know that this identity, Marco Seller, has been compromised. We got the signal either from a third party or first party. Maybe we saw some strange activity within the network. And what we're going to do is match between the user and the identity to figure out if after an email that's been sent from Marcos to anybody else in my organization, so where sender was Marcos, we're going to join that to the machine data to figure out did it spawn PowerShell within a certain period of time. So this is a very, very specific hypothesis where I'm saying somebody's been compromised. Now they're sending internal mail with a malicious payload, and I want to figure out if this email or something that someone who's received an email from Marcos has spawned PowerShell within a 30-minute period of time. And what we can see here, a real example, is that there was one where the sender email address came from Marcos. The subject was, please register your device. So again, they're trying to fly under the radar to seem like something that's internal, and they actually spawned from his device a command.exe out of Outlook with PowerShell, and looks like they're doing some naughty things. So finally, I think just bringing it all back, we wanted to do a quick recap because we know we did a lot of information through this process. All of these queries are going to be available with the PowerPoint, and once MTP is available to you all, you can take those queries and run them in your own organization. From a recap perspective, we went through a lot. Machine gets joined with email, and we'll give you a sneak peek into what's coming. From an editor perspective, it's completely rich, free-form KQL capabilities. You can come in and ask whatever question you like. You can filter in, filter out, use the baked-in filtering on the right side as well. But ultimately, with hunting in MTP, what it does is it allows you to ask the question not only in silos, but say, what happened here, and did it move anywhere else in my organization? So really, really powerful things. We've got some awesome feedback, and it's a feature that I love. So I'm going to pass it on to, now I'm going to give you guys a little bit of looking forward.
Right. Okay, so everything you've seen today is basically what we are going to have available for you in the preview as we reach public preview in the very near future. But looking forward, what are we looking at? So first thing is data expansion. We're going to be adding both, given that we are MTP and we have, as we mentioned, 4 different pillars. We are also adding information coming in from the identity world and also from the applications world. For example, the AAD logon events, file-related activities from SaaS applications, from MCAS, and also the different queries that are available that are performed against the domain controllers from Azure ATP. And from the Office side, okay. Okay. From the Office world, we're also continuing to enhance the information with our post-delivery email events and with Office URL time of click. And we're also adding a second enhancement is custom detections. As we have them also in MDATP, we are bringing them in to MTP, so you will be able to create your own custom alerts based on your queries. So that is pretty much it, just kind of a sneak peek into what we're looking at. The last piece that we actually have is response actions. So we're looking at this from 2 point of views. One is from the custom detections to be able to take actions based on the alerts that you trigger. It will be part of it. And the second thing is directly from the query editor, right-click, isolate machine, block file, purge email, and so on. Okay. So as we know, this is the last MTP session for the week. So just in case you missed any of them, this is the list of sessions that happened this week, and they should all be available online to view. And if you're wondering how do you actually get MTP in preview once we're out, so we will be coming soon to M365 E5 customers. Eligible customers are any customer that have M365 E5 or more than one of the E5 security licenses. And we have aka.msmtp, or follow us on Twitter if you'd like to get more information. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have time for questions, I think.
Oh, we have time for questions.
Twitter will be a great way to get the live notifications
Hi,
on
Kate.
what's coming. So follow us on Twitter if you have it. If not, you can look at the AKA. So let's open up for questions. We have 5 minutes, and then once we go over that, if we
They'll
still have
kick us out.
questions, they'll kick us out, but we'll be around. If we don't have any questions, we can play the cat video. Sure, we do have a question.
Is there any? Is there a limit on the number of matches that are available to be returned? I know that when you install log analytics, by default, it's a 10,000 limit on matches to be returned.
I think it's the same for us. I need to check, but I think it's the same for us. It's also a limit on 10,000.
Can that be overridden anywhere? Like with log analytics, where we've installed it ourselves, it's possible to override those as long as you're good friends with whoever installed it. But here,
I'll be honest and say I'm not sure. I need to check that.
okay, thanks. Yeah, it's where you have more than 10,000 users or devices, it
True.
can kind of become an issue.
Oh, totally.
Thank you.